Chapter 20! They're in the boathouse. I am mesmerized, watching him like one would watch a rare and dangerous predator, waiting for him to strike. Grey eyes blaze with anger, need, and pure, unadulterated lust. It's happening. It's happening in his parents' boathouse. And of course, she's thinking, holy shit! Naturally. I could spontaneously combust from his look alone. I wish she would spontaneously combust. Oh, please burst into flames, Anastasia. She says no to him, and he's like totally aroused by that. You said no. No one's ever said no to me before, and it's so hot. His eyes widen, filled with wonder and lust. It's a heady mix. And if you're not going to let me spank you, which you deserve, I'm going to fuck you on this couch this minute, quickly, for my pleasure, not yours. Well, tell us what you really think, Mr. Grey. He moves suddenly, so that his hand is cupping my sex. My heart is pounding, trying to leave my chest. You should go and talk to his mum, because she is a doctor. Hands on your head, he commands. Because this is very sexy, right? Heads, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and sex. Don't come or I will spank you. That's just mean. Holy crap! How do I stop? Think about killing a puppy or something. She doesn't come, so it's all good. He takes off the condom, knots it on the end, and puts it back in his pocket. He collects them, maybe. Ugh. Christian's sister says goodbye to her and says, we never thought he'd find anyone. That's just a horrible thing to say about your brother. Christian leads me to the car where Taylor is waiting. Has he been waiting here the whole time? Taylor opens my door and I slide into the back of the Audi. I think we know it's an Audi by now, for goodness sake. I glance nervously at Taylor. Don't worry about Taylor. Talk to me. She's going to Georgia to visit her mother, and he says, can I come with you? She's not sure that he should come to Georgia because she wants some time away from the intensity to think things through. He asks if she's having second thoughts and she says, possibly. He asks, why? What do I say? Because I think I love you and you see me just as a toy? Aww. Because I can't touch you? Because I'm too frightened to show you any affection in case you flinch or tell me off? Or worse, beat me? She wants more love. La 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 la. His face is intermittently in the light and the dark. It's such a fitting metaphor. Metaphors. High caliber of writing. Told you. High caliber. Metaphors! He's radiating sincerity, because that's a thing that you can do. She unbuckles her seatbelt and straddles him and starts kissing him. Are we just completely ignoring the Taylor factor now? We've got a little bit more hyphenation. I nuzzle against him, drinking in his sexy Christian and spiced musky body wash fragrance. I love the hyphenation. I'm embracing the hyphenation. I hope for more hyphenation. I allow myself to fantasize that he loves me. It's a dangerous fantasy. A small part of my nasty, harpy subconscious acts completely out of character and dares to hope. Taylor opens the door for them and is polite enough to pretend that he hasn't heard everything they've been saying in the car about cable ties and contracts and all that jazz. He bites her lip and I melt against him and my breathing stops as my insides unfurl with longing. So she stops breathing and her insides unfurl. This is starting to sound like a zombie movie. They're making out in the elevator and it makes me wonder, where is Taylor at this point? Is Taylor just sort of standing in the corner like do 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 do. Taylor is my favorite character. He says let's go to bed and she's wondering why he wants just plain old vanilla. Were you hoping for something more exotic? She says no, I'm okay. My inner goddess pouts at me, failing miserably to hide her disappointment. She's not real. You're failing miserably to not see her disappointment. He says that they have 31 flavors, which is just extending the ice cream metaphor a little bit too far. He takes off her dress in one swift motion, like a magician, and then says, ta-da! That is some seriously sexy foreplay. She applauds him politely and he bows. She's asking if she should play hard to get, and he says, don't you want to fuck? And she says, no, I want to make love. La 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 la. He stares at her blankly. She wants to touch him. That's what she considers to be making love. He won't tell her why touching him is a hard limit. She's looking at herself in the mirror in the bathroom and she's surprised that she still looks the same. What did you expect? That you'd grow horns and a little pointy tail? My subconscious snaps at me. And what the hell are you doing? Touching is his hard limit. My subconscious is furious, Medusa-like in her anger, hair flying, her hands clenched around her face like in Edvard Munch's The Scream. You are making him mad. Think about all that he said, all he's conceded. I scowl at my reflection. Her subconscious has Medusa hair and is The Scream, which is very frightening. There's another metaphor, guys. It's a seesaw. We are balanced on the delicate seesaw that is our strange arrangement. At different ends, vacillating, and it tips and sways between us. We both need to edge closer to the middle. I just hope neither of us falls off in our attempts to do so. It's a seesaw. She's brushing her teeth with Christian's toothbrush. Christian comes in, his PJs hanging off his hips in a way that makes every little cell in my body stand up and take notice. Every little cell. That is science. I drink him in like I'm crazed with thirst and he's clear, cool mountain spring water. That's a simile, people, a simile. High caliber of writing, I'm telling you. She gives him back his toothbrush and he says, do feel free to borrow my toothbrush. She says that if he tells her why touching is a hard limit, then he can spank her. He's got 2 shiny silver balls linked with a black thread and he says these are new. Which is great because it means nobody's used them before. My inner goddess is doing the dance of the 7 veils. Her inner goddess is just super excited about silver balls. He says that once he's finished with this, if she's still awake, he will tell her about his formative years. He puts the balls in her mouth for lubrication. Then he puts the balls in his mouth and her italics are thinking, fuck. This is sexier than the toothbrush. Because I'm pretty sure these are sex toys and the toothbrush is a toothbrush. My body braces itself in a heady mix of wild anticipation and arousal. So much heady mix in this book. He puts the balls inside of her. He grasps my hips to steady me while I re-establish my equilibrium. He tells her to go and fetch him a glass of water. Water? He wants water now? Why? Because that will make you walk around and you've got weird sex balls inside of you. He says, ask me. What? How is your water? He wants her to ask him to spank her and she catches on in time. He puts her across his knee. My heart is in my mouth. Not the right place for your heart. She's okay with the pain this time because it's also quite nice. He goes to the bathroom and comes back with lotion and says, your ass is a glorious color. Spill the beans, Grey. Miss Steele, you know how to ruin a moment. He says very simply, the woman who brought me into this world was a crack whore, Anastasia. Go to sleep. I slip into a dazed and exhausted sleep, dreaming of a 4-year-old grey-eyed boy in a dark, scary, miserable place. And that's the end of chapter 20. What happened in chapter 20? They had sex in a boathouse out the back of his parents' house. They went home and Christian Grey decided to experiment with little silver balls, and then he confessed that his mother was a crack whore. So there was an actual plot development. Huzzah! And they went to sleep at the end of the chapter, which is 50% of chapters end with sleeping at the end of the chapter. So that's a trend. Follow it. It'll keep happening. That is the end of chapter 20. See you next time for chapter 21. Goodbye!